Is over here Hali groups? Hali, Danixa. Oh my goodness, we got only four. So I don't know, Emilio, if you want to be the first one because you're completed.
We're just waiting for Scarlett in this case. She's coming in a few minutes.
Okay. Okay, folks, remember that in this session, we got as a told in the previous one, we got we will be discussing some presentation that were assigned in the previous classes, right? So that we got some groups will be defending U.S. government branches, and other ones defending United Kingdom monarchy, right? Like parliament, executive, and legislative functions. So then we got different types of slides, including some important about information about these two topics. Okay. So we're gonna wait for 1 or 2 minutes more to wait for the rest of the students, okay?
Got it.
Got it.
Okay. So we got this and the stage is yours.
Teacher, just one quick question. Is it
Yeah.
necessary to me for to turn on my camera, or is it okay if
No,
I
no,
do
no,
it
no.
without
You
the
you,
camera?
you can just speak and explain to.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, thank you. So, well, good evening, classmates and teacher. In this case, we are going to talk about the United Kingdom, especially the monarchy, the functions, structures, and some facts. Can you go to next slide? So, the next slide, teacher. There you go. So, in this case, our presentation, the previous one, teacher, our presentation will be done by myself, Francisco Rodriguez, Ana Paula Garcia Telles, and Scarlett Guadamus. Let's begin. Can you go with the other one? So, first of all, we have an overview. The previous slide, teacher.
The previous
Can you
slide.
the previous slide? There you go. That one. That one. Thank you. So, first of all, we have to start with a small overview of the UK monarchy. It is known that nowadays the UK is run by a monarchy. The monarchy refers to a form of government which is centered in a circle of individuals who hold power.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the monarchy works in a constitutional way, since it is made with, since it works along with the parliament, because they don't have absolute control over all of the functions that they have in today's form of government. So, as you can see here, we have a legacy of power and history and continuity, since we know that this is one of the oldest forms of government, and it is based on legacy, heritage, absolute power. In this case, it's a kind of shared power between the monarchy and the parliament, and also continuity, since we have been, well, they have been facing changes through history, regulations, and also cultural impacts in this case.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, I will leave Ana Paula Garcia Telles to give more information about the monarchy in this case.
Okay. Um, Now let's talk about the monarchy and also the parliament. As everyone knows, the monarchy basically is a form of government in which a queen or king, but in this case is a king, which is Charles III, right? Is a head of state, and the position is usually inherited. I mean, passed down through a royal family. At the same time, it performs formal duties like approving laws and appointing the prime minister, while symbolizing national unity and continuity. At the same time, the United Kingdom is a constitutional monarchy that has a relationship with a parliamentary system based on tradition, law, and limited powers, but parliament has a real governing power. Now let's talk about the parliament. Basically, the parliament is a group of people who make the laws in a country. For example, in that country, it includes the House of Commons, the House of Lords, and the monarch, who formally approves the laws. At the same time, Parliament makes sure that government is doing things the right way and spending money properly. It helps keep the country fair and following the rules. Okay, now I have a question. How the monarchy and the parliament work together? Okay, as I mentioned before, the parliament makes the laws, right? And the monarch just approves them. However,
Yeah.
this is symbolic. I mean, the monarch cannot reject the laws or change them. Another example is the government. In other words, the prime minister plus cabinet must have the support of the House of Commons, but not the monarch. Finally, the parliament cannot rule without the monarch, and the monarch cannot. Sorry. The monarch cannot rule the parliament, and the parliament cannot um, pass without monarch formal approval. Yeah. Therefore, both of them have a purpose, which is to form or create a constitutional monarchy together.
Okay, very good. So next is slide, right?
Yeah, Scarlett.
Yes, key figures in a monarchy there are people who will power or influencing in the royal system. The king may authority. The king is goer of super the king. Hair princess is next in line. Royal family, they represent the nations. Con- council ministers and advise the kings. Nobility is high rank letters under the king. Parliament makes law. For example, Edgar Sips, Renan, 1901 to 1910. George V, Renan, 1910 to 1936. Edward, Edward VI, reigned only in 1936. George VI reigned 18, 1936 to 1952. Next,
This one or next one?
yes, next, yes. The functions of the monarchy represent the state, still law, led and armed forces, support social and cultural causes. Still law, in a constitutionality monarchy, the monarch sings or approved law passes by parliament. In the represent the state, the monarchy serves as symbol of national unity and identity and supports social and cultural causes. Its monarchy often promoted charity, education, and humanity is first.
Okay, so in my case, I will try to present some fun facts and interesting facts about the monarchy. First of all, we can say that the UK monarchy is both ancient and modern. As previously mentioned, this form of government has over 1,000 years of existence. So that makes it like a cultural symbol that shares the continuity and time they have been ruling over the UK in that sense. Also, we can say that this one could be a fun and interesting fact is that the monarch has their own special royal train. Yeah, you heard it right. It's a special train. They don't use it so much in order to reduce the costs, but still there is a train in the UK monarchy where they have their own special space and they can use it to spare costs for special occasions, for example. Also, we have that the king doesn't need a passport. This one might sound crazy, but actually makes sense since many documents, legal documents in the UK, are signed in the name of the king. So the king himself wouldn't have to need a passport. It wouldn't need a passport. So they don't have to use that document to go from country to country because they sign their own laws. And lastly, we have that the parliament can legally begin without the monarch. As we mentioned, and this might sound a bit tricky, since we know that the parliament and the monarchy they were together. One cannot function with the other one. The parliament can set laws, but the monarchy have the obligation or the right to see them and sign them. So neither of them can exist without the other because they have to work with each other in that case. And I will leave you with Ana Paula in this case.
To sum up, it's very important to learn about the monarchy and the parliament, as well as its history, historical events, relevant figures, at the same time, political system, and also the relationship between the monarchy and the parliament too, because it can help us to increase our knowledge or our education as students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks. You have done a really good presentation. Okay, so we're gonna continue with the second one, and this is for, let me see, Marcella, Halley, and Danixa, please. Hello, girls.
Hello, teacher.
Okay,
Yes, we're gonna start.
thank you.
And good evening, teacher and classmates. Today, our group is going to present the topic, the three branches of the United States government. We will explain how the systems work, the function of each branch, and why power is divided. To begin, the United States uses a federal system, which means that power is shared between the national government and the states. At the national level, the government is divided into the three main branches: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. This structure was created to prevent any person or institution from having too much power. The branches work together through a system called checks and balances, which helps maintain fairness and balance in the government. The next teacher. Now I'm going to talk about interesting facts. One interesting fact about the USA government is that no branch has complete control. Each branch can limit the others. For example, Congress can override a presidential bureau. The president can appoint judges, and the Supreme Court can declare laws unconstitutional. And other interesting point is that unlike many countries, the United States doesn't have a king or queen. All the powers come from the constitutions and leaders are elected by the people. This makes the system very organized and democratic.
Now I will talk about the executive branch and legislative branch. The executive branch is responsible for making sure all laws are followed. It is led by the President of the United States, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of the military. The executive branch also includes the Vice President and the Cabinet, which is a group of advisors who run different departments such as education, defense, and health. Some of the main powers of the executive branch are sign and represent the country in international affairs and direct the national government. On the other hand, the legislative branch is also known as Congress. Congress is in charge of making laws. It is divided into two chambers. The Senate, which has 100 senators, and the Houses of Representatives, which has 435 members. Both chambers must agree for a law to be approved. Congress also controls the national budget, declares war, and can limit the president's power through investigation or overriding vetoes. Next. Next, teacher.
Is this?
Yes,
Yeah.
Alexa.
Yeah. Okay. Now I am going to talk about the judicial branch and some key people and institutions in the US government, and I will also be closing our presentations. The third branch is the judicial branch, which is in charge of interpreting the laws. This means that it decides what the laws mean and if they follow the Constitution. The highest court in the United States is the Supreme Court, which has 9 justices, and these justices serve for life, which helps them make fair and independent decisions. And the Supreme Court can declare a law unconstitutional if it violates rights. Because of this, the judicial branch protects justice and ensures that the government respects the Constitution. Key people and institutions. Here are some important people and institutions in the US government. The president who leads the executive branch, and the vice president who supports the president and presides over the Senate. And the third is the Speaker of the House, an important leader in the House of Representatives. And the last one, The Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice, which is the highest authority in the judicial branch. This role helps the government function smoothly and maintain balance. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, very good. Just to confirm, who is usuario de Zoom?
Um,
Who's using that name in this virtual section? Is you, Danixa?
yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna continue with the other one, and this is for, let's see. This is for Maciel Ortiz and Andres Herrera. Okay, go ahead, folks.
Okay, teacher, we are going to present. Give me a second, please.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, teacher. Okay,
Don't worry.
good morning, everyone, teacher and classmates. Today, my partner Maciel and I, Andres, we are going to present about the youth government branches, right? So, next teacher, please. Okay, as an overview, okay, the United States government is divided into three main branches, right? This structure exists to keep power balanced and to avoid abuse of authority. The system also works together with a state government since the US is a federal country. This helps make sure decisions are organized and shared. Next teacher, please. Okay, now we're going to talk about the three main branches of the USA government, right? First of all, we have the legislative branch. We is it makes the laws and is formed by the Congress, which includes the Senate and the House of the Representatives. The second branch is the executive branch, led by the president. Its main job is to enforce the laws. And the last one, and the third branch, is the judicial branch, which includes the Supreme Court and other federal courts. They interpret the law. Uh, Previous one, sorry. Okay, they interpret the laws and decide if they follow the Constitution. As you can see in the picture that we have here, we can see another functions that they have. For example, the legislative makes law, approves presidential appointment, two senators for each state. The number of congressmen is based on population. The executive signs laws, vetoes laws, pardons people, appoints federal judge, elected every 4 years. And the last one, the judicial, decide if laws are constitutional or appointed by the president. There are no justices can overturn rulings by other judge. Next teacher, please. Okay, now we're going to talk about the executive and legislative functions, right? So, the executive branch has several responsibilities, sign or vetoing laws, leading the military, managing foreign relations, and appointing important officials and judges. And the legislative branch writes and approves laws, controls the nation budget, declares war, and confirms the president appointment. Both branches check each other's power. Next teacher, please. And now my partner Maciel is going to talk about some examples of key people and important institutions. Go ahead, Maciel.
Good evening, teacher.
Evening.
Um, ex- Example, some important people in the USA government include the president, the vice president, and leaders.
of Congress, like the Speaker of the House. Key institutions include the White House, where the President works, the Capitol, where Congress meets, and Supreme Court building. These places represent the power and roles for each branch. Next picture, please.
Is
Okay. Now we are going to talk about the comparison and some interesting facts about the USA branches.
One interesting fact is that the USA used a complete separation of powers, unlike other countries where government meets functions. Another fact is judicial review, which allow the Supreme Court to cancel laws that go against the constitutional. Also, Congress can impeach a president, and the president can only serve 2 4 years term. Next picture.
And now, as a conclusion, go ahead, Maciel.
In conclusions, the USA government works through three branches that balance each other to prevent the abuse of power. Each branch has clear responsibility by the dependent on one another to keep the system fair and democratic. The structure is essential for making decisions that affect the whole country.
And
Um,
that's it.
thank,
Thanks
thank you so
for your
much.
attention.
okay, thank you very much, folks. And we're gonna continue with the other one, okay? The next
Okay.
one is for Valerie Lopez. Are you here, Valeria? Hello, Valeria. He's not here, so we're gonna change this for, let's check. Shannon, okay? The group of Shannon Quadra. Are you here?
Yes, teacher.
Shannon?
Yes, Mister, yes.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, teacher, my group was conformed by Camila, Cecia, and me, but Cecia tell me in the afternoon that she was not present in the class, so just Camila and me will be presenting.
Okay, don't worry. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, good evening, teacher and classmate. Today we will explain how the government of the United Kingdom is organized. To start, the United Kingdom is a constitutional monarchy and a parliamentary democracy, which means that the monarch, the prime minister, and the parliament each have different roles. The monarch is the head of the state and performs mainly ceremonial duties such as giving royal assent to laws, meeting with the prime minister, and representing the country at official events. Um, the United Kingdom government is divided into three main parts: the monarchy, the executive, and the legislature. The executive is led by the prime minister and sorry, includes the cabinet and government departments. They are responsible for implementing laws, managing national services such as health, education, and defense, making um, policy decisions, and representing the United States international. So the legislature is parliamentary, which has two houses. One is the House of Commons, that is elected by the public, and it is responsible for dividing laws, voting on team, representing citizens, and examining the government work. And the other house is the House of Lords, whose members are appointed, reviews, and revise legislation. Hmm.
Next, right?
See, yes. Next, please, Parliament. I know. Back, back. Yeah, sorry.
This.
Yes, Parliament also has key legislative functions. It is make debate and passes law, examine the action of the government, approve the national budgets, and represent the people. For a bill to become a law, it must go through several readings in both houses and then receive royal assent from the monarch. In this way, all part of the united government work together to create, apply, and oversee the law of the country. The legislative branch also approve the national budgets and represent the population. For a bill to become a law, it must go through several readings in both houses and finally receive royal assent from the monarch. Together, the monarchy, the executive, and the legislature ensure that united government function effectively. So now Camila is going to present.
Mister, you're gonna create another meeting or it's okay?
You got 2 minutes for doing this, and then another we're gonna connect again for the rest of the groups that we got. Okay.
Okay. In my case, I'm gonna talk about examples of key people and key institutions. We have the monarch the monarch is led by the King Charles III. We have also the prime minister. We have members of parliament, elected representative, and the cabinet minister lead different government departments. Key institutions, we have the houses of parliament, that is the House of Commons and the House of Lords. And we also have the Supreme Court, that is the highest court in the United Kingdom. In the slide, we can see the royal family line. The next one, Mister. Now, comparison or interesting facts. The United Kingdom monarchy is one of the oldest monarchies in the world. The power used to belong mostly to the monarch, but over the time moved to the parliament. The prime minister is not directly elected as prime minister. They become prime minister by leading the majority party. The United Kingdom has no single written constitutions. And the last one is that the House of Lords cannot permanently block laws, only delay them. The next one. Um, in this slide, we can see in the first picture how seats in the United Kingdom Parliament were divided after the 2017 election, with the Conservative or right wing having the most seats. followed by Labour and several smaller parties. And the second picture, we can see the structure of the United Kingdom government with the monarch and the top and three main branches underneath. That is, as Shanine was saying, the legislature,